Hello guys. In this next video, we're going to be talking about multiplying and dividing rational functions. So my initial plan was to make 4 videos, one for adding, one for subtracting, one for multiplying, one for dividing. But really, like, if you guys watched the adding and subtracting video, you guys saw those two process or procedures are like exactly the same. It's kind of the same thing here with multiplying and dividing. You're doing the same exact thing. So really, all you need to know is kind of 2 ways of how to solve problems, even though there are 4 operations, because obviously these 2 are inverses, addition, subtraction, those are inverses, so you're going to be kind of doing the same thing. So for multiplying and dividing, I'd say the key here is you kind of just have to be able to look at fractions and kind of see into the future almost. And it's just a skill you'll pick up on doing more of these problems. So really, the best advice for these problems is not as much as watching this one video over and over and over again. It's more just do a bunch of problems, get more experience, seeing little tips and tricks of how these problems work. So the kind of main way of solving these is if you have anything on the top and it's the same as something on the bottom, you're allowed to cross those out. So let's just go with like regular numbers. Let's say we have 2 over 3 times 3 over 2. That's not good. Times 5 over 2. The kind of key thing you're using, even though these are numbers and those are equations, is if you have the same thing on top and the same thing on the bottom, just cross them out. They cancel out, and you're just left with 5 over 3. It's the same thing if you had like 2 over 2 times 5 over 3. The 2's would cancel out. If you have the same number on top, same number on the bottom, you're allowed to just cross them out. So you're kind of doing the same thing over here. And so my first step for all of these is I want to write these equations in as simplified of a form as possible. So if there's an x squared, that means I'm going to factor it. If there is a number in front of x, I'm going to factor that number out. If I have something weird like I have here, where our number comes before the letter, I'm going to try to flip those. I'm going to factor out a -1. So that's just my first step. I'm trying to simplify all 4 pieces here, all 4 pieces here. So first things first, we have x squared minus 25. So I'm just going to kind of rewrite both of these. X squared minus 25, if you guys watched my video 2 videos ago, you would know that you just take the square root of 25. This becomes x minus 5 times x plus 5. 5x minus 25, like I said, I want to factor out the greatest common factor for all these. So 5, 25, they both have a 5 in common. So we can factor out 5. What are we left with when we factor out 5? X minus 5. Here, they both have a greatest common factor of 4, so you're going to factor out a 4. And then when we do that, we're left with x plus 3. And then here I told you, oh no, that's down here. Here, what's the greatest common factor here? Is an 8. So I'm going to factor out an 8. And I'm left with x plus 3. Alright. Could do the same thing down here now. We have 2x squared minus 7x minus 4. I'm going to do a little more work for this one. So I told you if there is an x squared, there's 3 terms. There's a number in front of x squared. You're going to have to do x and the box. And on top is a times c. On the bottom is b. So 2 times -4 is -8. -7 on the bottom. So what 2 numbers multiply to be -8 add to be -7? -8 and +1. And then now, since there's a number in front of x squared, we need to make a box as well. And what goes inside the box? This term here, this term here. And then these two numbers go on the sides and you attach an x to it. Now you just fill out the outside of the box. And that tells us we're left with now we have to factor this, x squared plus x minus 12. X. Make sure this is still a shot. We're good. And then since there's just a 1 for an x squared, we can just take c on top. We have an invisible positive 1 in front of x. So what two numbers multiply to be 12 add to be 1. 4 and negative 3. And since there is no number in front of x squared, we do not need to make a box. We can just take these two numbers from here. So x plus 4, x minus 3. We can write this here. All right. Now, we have negative 1 minus 2x. I told you we want to factor out a negative 1. And when we do that, the signs on these two numbers flip. So this becomes positive 2x, this becomes positive 1. And then lastly down here, they have a greatest common factor of 5, and we factor that out. All right. This is the hard part. This is kind of it's really not that difficult, but this is kind of the most work we're gonna do. After this, it's like weirdly satisfying. Not weirdly, it is satisfying to do these problems, because now you're just trying to cancel stuff out. So if you have this, like I said, you have the same thing on top, same thing on the bottom, you can cross those out. If it's here and here, that's fine. If it's here and here, that's fine. Anything on top, anything on the bottom that you cancel out, you're allowed to do it. So here, we have an x minus 5 here, and x minus 5 here. They're gone. We have an x plus 3 here, x plus 3 here. They're gone. So what are we left with? We're left with an x plus 5, a 4, a 5, and 8. But we can get a little better, actually. So we can also, like how we rewrote equations, we can rewrite numbers too. So just looking at the numbers, we have 4, 5, and 8. Is there any way we could rewrite any of them as one of the numbers that we have here times something else? And you should be looking at 8 and be like, yeah, we can write that as 4 times 2. So instead of 8, 8 is just the same thing as 4 times 2. So now we have a 4 on top, 4 on the bottom. They're gone. And this is as simplified as we can get. So what are we left with on top? We're left with an x plus 5. On the bottom, we're left with 2 times 5 is 10. And that's it. You turn that whole mess into just a simple little x plus 5 over 10. Now over here, or down here, for the division, you're doing the same thing, but there's just one additional step. And it is, you want to turn this into a multiplication sign. So all you have to do to turn this symbol from a division symbol to a multiplication symbol is flip these two things. So that's what we're doing this next step. Equals, this stays the same. We're going to change that to a multiply. And we just have to flip these two. So now we have 5 times x plus 4 on top. And we have negative 1 times 2x plus 1 on the bottom. And now we're in business. Now we just do the same thing that we did up here. So we just start canceling things out. So we have, let's see, a 2x plus 1. here and a 2x plus 1 here. Those are gone. We have an x minus 4 here. Or nope, that didn't cancel. We have an x plus 4 here. And we have an x plus 4 here. And now that's it, I think. X minus 4. Yeah, there's nothing else we can do here, so we're just left with the 5, x minus 4, negative 1, x minus 3. So this just becomes 5 times x minus 4 over negative 1 times x minus 3. From here, there's multiple ways you could rewrite this. You could distribute. I don't care. If you just want to leave it like this, that's fine with me. I'm not going to take points off. I am going to distribute these. So distribute to 5, distribute to negative 1. This just becomes 5x minus 20 over negative x plus 3. Or you could write that as 3 minus x. And now, this I would say is your